And so whenever we come to one of these great sermons that is so rich in Old Testament language and Old Testament promises, we have to ask, how does the Old Testament connect to the New Testament? Now, some have argued that the text of the Old Testament is in opposition somehow to the New Testament, that there was something wrong or something deformed or too wrathful, too violent, too bloody about the Old Testament, so that the New Testament had to then replace the Old Testament. That there's a connection of opposition where the New Testament replaced the Old. But that's clearly not what is happening in this sermon here. Others have argued that there is perhaps a parallel path, that what God did in the Old Testament with his people Israel is continuing forward as though Jesus Christ had not yet come, and now Jesus Christ has come, and there are now two options, two possibilities for getting to heaven. There's the Old Testament promises for Israel, and there's the New Testament promises to the church, but both will end up in the same place, and that is absolutely not what Peter is proclaiming here. The relationship, the connection between the Old and the New Testament is not one of replacement. It is not one of setting out parallel paths to heaven. It is rather one of promise and fulfillment. That what God promised to his people, that what the God of Abraham and the God of Isaac and the God of Jacob promised by the covenants that he made to his people, has now been fulfilled in and through Jesus Christ. So that the blessings promised to Abraham are now found only and exclusively in God's only begotten Son, Jesus Christ the Messiah.